Don't be shy to raise your hand. Welcome. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. I'm Shane. I'm with the team. I'm a volunteer here with 1 Million Cups. We are actually all volunteer ran. That means that every one of us that you see, no one's getting paid, no one's getting any special favors. We're all just volunteers here helping you out. All right, 1 Million Cups is founded by the Kauffman Foundation. It started in 2012. And together we have helped over 3,500 weekly attendees and 700 volunteer organizations present at 1 Million Cups. Currently, we are active in 103 communities, and more than 8,000 entrepreneurs have shared their ideas at 1 Million Cups. And I'm really curious if we've actually consumed 1 million cups of coffee. Hopefully we have. All right, don't forget we have an app, and in the app you can check in and leave your feedback for the presenters. You have to actually do that today, because if you don't do it right after, the app won't let you. It's actually a great way to leave feedback to the presenter and kind of give them some anonymous feedback to help them with their presentation. All right, and now let's give a big warm welcome for Jeff with Trip Hound.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Setzer. I'm the Chief Technical Officer of Trip Hound and co-founder. Nearly 3 years ago, I left 20 years in IT in the corporate world, and I decided to start Trip Hound with my wife and one of my best friends from high school. So we decided to turn our love of travel and our passion for animal rescue into a mission to save lives. So the problem, over 6.5 million companion animals find their ways into U.S. shelters every year. Nearly half of those are euthanized, while families are continuing to purchase dogs from breeders and other profitable organizations at the rate of 23%. So we wanted to create valuable, fun, and cutting-edge travel products and leverage a value proposition of do something you love while helping the ones that you love. And so we syndicate, provide travel deals from all of the large providers, TripAdvisor, Travelzoo, and we syndicate those out to our 1.5 million subscribers. In 2 years, we've donated over $40,000 to animal rescues. Most of that here in the state of Texas, but we do have partners in New York, Chicago, in California, and others sprinkled throughout the United States. We've actually paid for 130 adoption fees for individual dogs, and you see the couple up in the top right-hand corner. Those are 2 teachers who actually came to us and wanted to adopt a husky, but he was bonded with another husky in the rescue, and they didn't have enough money to purchase both of them, so they came to us, and we funded both of those adoption fees for them. So the products that we offer are, we syndicate and curate the best travel deals on the internet from the top publishers and online travel agencies. We provide meta search capabilities for airfare searches, car rental searches, and we're about to go online with hotel pretty soon. We also work with and publish some of the top travel bloggers' posts around the internet. And we also want to be a one-stop shop for people who want to find out about pet regulations, with the airlines, with hotels. You come to our site, you're going to have the most up-to-date information. But the core foundation of our business is our email syndication. So this is a kind of a little preview of kind of what our emails look like and the partners that we work with. Right now we're between 1.5 and 1.75 million. We have 1.5 that have engaged. We have 250,000 that have yet to engage. So that number goes up and down depending on unsubscribes, how many new subscribes we've gotten. So every month it does vary, but it sits right between 1.5 and 1.75. This is a 30-day production snapshot of our email program. We sent over nearly 40 million emails in 30-day time frame, with 8.8% engaging and over 170,000 people clicking on an actual product. Our website's built on a scalable, versatile platform, and it allows us to monetize and also publish the travel deals that we have in our email onto our website so that we can gain additional revenue there. It's also very mobile friendly. Over half of our subscribers engage with our emails and our products on mobile devices, so it's very critical that everything that we do be mobile friendly. Our social network, we have spent very little money on the social marketing aspect of things, but as you can see, we have got tremendous traction with over 53,000 people have liked our page. But the amazing thing about this slide is look at the engagement. 18,000 people have engaged, and this was just in a 1-week period of time. Look at some of the other names and some of the other engagement statistics. So as you can see, we're engaging with our subscribers at a rate 10 times that of most of the travel companies. It's simply because of the value proposition and the loyalty to the animal rescue aspect of our business. Here's our revenue. Trip Hound has been completely bootstrapped. We haven't taken an investment dollar from anyone. And so we are in our 3rd year of business, okay? We're projecting out gross revenues of $1 million, okay? So the 2019 and the 2020 figure account is if we're seeking some investment dollars, some bridge investment to get us to a Series A. So if we get that bridge series, those numbers represent what we'd be able to accomplish with that bridge series funding. So we want to grow. How are we going to do that? We're going to develop user-friendly tools. We've engaged with Kiwi Tech, who's a startup accelerator, who's developing all of our back-end technology tools. And they're going to be best-of-class search tools. We're going to establish marketing essentials. We're going to increase our direct relationships. What is the opportunity here? Well, TravelZoo, one of our partners, is a $100 million yearly revenue company. Kayak, $1.8 billion acquired by Priceline. Hitmonk, $100,000 acquired, $100 million acquired by Concur. Fair Compare, $10 million of yearly revenue. So this is the opportunity for the investor. How are we going to spend those investment dollars? Well, I've broken it out to a pie chart. It's a very, very high level, but we have a plan. And this is the team. Ken Cannon's our CEO. He was at Fair Compare for 10 years as Director of Partnerships. I am the Chief Technical Officer. I've been in IT for 20 years. And my wife, Michonne, is our Chief Marketing Officer, handles all of our social media and rescue engagements. Thank you. Hi.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, ma'am.
That was a wonderful presentation. Our first question to you is always, what can we as a community do for you?
I'm here because I wanted to really get some feedback and find out, I haven't had a lot of QA time. I've done several presentations, but I haven't had gotten a lot of feedback. And so I want to kind of understand how you view Trip Hound. It's kind of a different business model. We're mixing two things that haven't always gone together. So, I want to understand, is the value proposition worth it, to the average traveler, to the average person out there?
All right, wonderful. If you have questions, we'll come around with the mic and you can ask your question.
And I could go back to any slides during the questions if you'd like to look at something that I had to fly through.
Jeff, my name is Wael Dukma. Great presentation.
Thank you.
You did lose me a little at the beginning as to who exactly you are until you went into more details in the travel. I actually don't know if this is the proper feedback, I'm just not sure, but if you were to start of your travel and actual value proposition and then move on to put the shelter, the animal rescue and all of that as a benefit to the users,
right,
that may actually grab attention to who you are and then add to that attention by what you do on top of that. Okay,
yeah, so and on our website, that's what we always put mission first, so everything that we do is mission forward. We try to present that as the value proposition to our customers immediately before they ever even start their search for travel. They're there for a reason. There's so many places that you can search for travel. It's such an incestual industry. There's 4 parent companies that own just about everything underneath, right? So everywhere you go, you're basically going to get the same deals. You're going to get the same rates. You're going to see. But with us, we're actually doing something philanthropic on the back end, and at a percentage of revenue much higher than you see other for-profit companies giving back to the community. So we try to put that mission forward, but, you know, and that's really driven, I think, kind of the traction that we have is the rescue piece of it.
Back here,
Yes, sir.
back here. Hello?
You can I can hear you.
Okay. Two questions. First, beyond the animal rescue, so how are you different than, you know, the other 4 big players?
We aren't different in any way.
Okay.
The only difference is that when you come to us, you're going to know that a large percentage of your money is going back to a cause that you care about, you know, we're not going to be different, and that's kind of our goal, is to create a best-in-class product, you know, that rivals Kayak and rivals TripAdvisor, and brings you the same kind of search experience that you get when you search for travel there. And like I said, the deals are all the same, because actually the partners that we work with are those partners, you know. So really, there is no difference. There's no, the difference is the value proposition. You should never use Booking yet. Yeah, you should just come to us. And the goal is, like I said, and I'm going to be honest, we're not there yet. You know, our search experience for travel is not on par, and that's why we have engaged with Kiwi Tech to help build that out. And we're in the process of that right now, and we're looking at a 30 to 60 day probably rollout for an all new platform for what we're doing. And so, you know, we're investing heavily in that. You know, over $300,000 of investment in technical side. So that's the goal.
Sure.
You have another question? Sure.
I do. And can you tell us your revenue model? I mean, like...
It's a revenue model CPC right now. So it's a cost per click. So basically we're a syndication agent for these providers. And so when we send out an email, if someone clicks on the product and goes to their site, we get paid. Okay, so if we go back to the 30-day production cycle, and you take a look at that, and say so we're averaging between 25 and 40 cents a click, depending on what kind of product we're sending. So you can do the math in your head on a 30-day. You know, over 170,000 people have clicked on product in 30 days times a simple CPC model. You know, so that was the goal. We didn't want to get in. We wanted to keep overhead from a staffing, you know, everything low in the beginning, and keep the business models extremely simple and straightforward. Not only for our partners, for us. We're a very small team, so we don't have a customer service team to handle bookings yet, or any of that kind of stuff. Those are down the road channels of revenue that we want to open with investment. But right now we're completely bootstrapped. And we've funded everything ourselves, and we're profitable. So, you know, we can grow, but I want to pour gasoline on this fire right now. You know, so I want to get the Bridge Series investment so we can start to push it forward. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, we have a question behind you. That's okay.
I'm sorry, if we could just please wait for the lights to come around. We have a question right here.
Oh, sure.
Hi, I'm Corey. I have a question and then potentially a suggestion.
Okay.
So how, if I'm a shopper,
Yep.
how are you engaging with me on the, you know, like the pet adoption or the animal aspect?
Okay, so most of that goes through social media. It's mostly driven through social media because you find all these rescue organizations, people that are involved in rescue use social media to basically manage and organize those processes. So we have leveraged social media and our partnerships with North Shore Animal League, Austin Pets Alive, Austin Humane Society, Operation Kindness, North Texas Humane Society. We've used those relationships to leverage their subscribers to opt into our programs. So that's kind of the business model is to work and give back, and when you start giving back to these organizations, they give back the branding, they give back the subscribers, they give back the value, you know. So it's a win-win on both on every side when it comes to animal rescue.
The suggestion I think would be, I'm an avid traveler, so
Okay.
I would and I'm actually pretty scared of animals, but
Okay.
my whole family is a bunch of Dr. Doolittles, so I would probably use this site to benefit them.
Okay.
But then, come Christmas, I would like to brag about how many animals I saved, or how many pets were
Right.
adopted. So if there was a chance to actually take that directly to the user, as opposed to like, hey, when you shop with us, you're getting like, here's what's benefiting. You saved one animal by booking this trip,
Right.
to the Caribbean or going on a cruise or something.
And with the CPC model, it's a little hard to do because when you click, we got 35 cents. So, and we don't have the technology infrastructure yet to be able to track the user's journey through our company and be able to calculate how much rescue revenue they have. It's an idea that we have certainly bounced around, and again, money solves everything, right? So if in the future as we grow, that's the kind of feedback we would love to give. What we have done though is, and what we plan to do is give people the opportunity to let us know about a rescue that they care about, like to suggest a rescue, because we have rescues in several cities, but we don't have them everywhere, right? So we want to make sure that we're letting our subscribers know we're helping in their area. It's not just here in Dallas or here in Texas. We're in their community, and their dollars are going there too. So, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Are you able to
Bring you the
Sorry.
Sorry. Are you able to give us a demo today of the booking experience? So you go to the site.
Again, right now we're not. You don't really book through us right now. We're kind of a meta search engine. So what we do is you put in what you want, where you want to go, and basically we kind of scour the internet and we find all the different sites as far as the best rates, and then you click off and you go to their site and book.
Okay, what I'd like to see is see that done on the web page.
Okay, we're not set up for that here today. Yeah, it's just a presentation.
So you're sort of coming in without the product.
Well, no, the product's online. I mean, you could go to.
You're coming in without the product. I
Okay.
could be online. I'm here.
Right. Well, they told me just to have a presentation. Is what they asked me to have prepared.
Yeah, you know what, don't worry about this. Really, if you want to have a side conversation afterwards, you're welcome to do that. But you don't need to drag it out.
Okay,
It's
next question.
No worries. So I had a comment actually, which is, it's good if you start to collect the data now, so that you have it down the road. And this is bouncing off of what you said, that's really good, for people to know how many dogs that they've contributed to for the animal rescue. Or another thing you could do is group it. If right now it's too much to do just per individual. So we could look at some of the nonprofit companies. I get the letters every quarter.
Right.
And they've grouped me with everybody else. And I think maybe you're doing that already because you showed us something.
Yeah, we do have, wait. So, we could take the 40,000 number and the amount of subscribers that clicked, so to say, clicked on a product.
Right.
Okay, and we could average that out, but certain people click 10 or 20 times, and certain people clicked once. So, again, those things as we grow, we're going to start to build in kind of those type of feedback, because we know you want to know how much you're helping. I mean, that's what all this is about, right? Like, is to feel good about what you're doing. And so anything that we can do to help you understand what you've done, to help you feel good about using Trip Hound is a good idea.
Perfect, thank you. And there's a question here.
Yes. Jeff, great presentation.
Thank you very much.
One thing that I wanted to know was long-term growth. Are you looking at continuing to be a CPC, just kind of a linker, or is there a future for actually, having a booking agent team and taking on some of those partnerships with tour operators and actually being the facilitator there that's holding reservations?
Absolutely. So we want to increase. So part of our growth is increase the direct relationships. So take out the middlemen, the current syndicators that we're using, actually go to the deal providers. That increases our revenue margins. And we could potentially create a much larger redundant pool of partners, instead of just having to deal with the middlemen. And so we do want to open up the ability to, especially for group bookings, we get a lot of requests for large party bookings, you know, and so we do want to open up that channel and be able to provide that support, but you have to have a customer service team. You've got to have a whole department staffed up for that kind of thing to do it right, you know, and so it is a part of our plan with investment.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
All right, we have time for one more question.
Hey, it's actually 2 questions, but I'll try to keep it quick.
Sure.
Do you have a set percentage of your revenue that you donate or plan to donate every year? And also, have you guys had conversations around offering sort of a section where it's pet-friendly travels? You know, you click on it and then you have all these places you could go to with your pet.
Yes. So, answer to your question, the first question, I think the first year we were around 10% of gross revenue, and the second year we felt around 5%. And we feel like that as we grow, that 5% is that number is the number that we kind of want to stay at. The cool thing about that number is, as at $1 million in revenue, you know, these animal rescue shows are not used to getting these kind of dollars. You know, like they're used to getting a $200 donation or $400. We walk in and give them a check for $5,000. You know, and so our goal is that keep it at 5%, no matter how large we grow. If we're a $100 million company, you know, we're giving 5% of that 100 million, and those dollars are going to be are going to make a huge impact to these rescues. That was what I was shocked about animal rescues, how few dollars these rescues get, how thin margins that they operate on. And so our goal is to really become a wealth of resource for them financially. So, and I'm sorry, what was the second question?
Pet travel.
Okay, pet travel, yeah. So there are a couple websites out there that are focused on traveling with your pet, okay? Like which hotels allow you to have the best experience, what airlines. But our goal was always to us that was kind of niche. People, when I travel, I mean, I have 4 dogs, 13 chickens, 20 fish. When I travel, I want to get away from my animals, right? Like, I mean, it's like my kid. Like, I want a break. So our goal was to really just to bring the two things together, but yet keep them separate, right? This is still about travel, okay? It's not about traveling with your pet. We want to be a resource for that. We want to be a great resource for those regulations and even have, you know, that on our website, but it's not the foundation of our revenue model or what we've built it on. So, all right.
All right, thank you so much,
Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it.
All right, I did see some questions that did get answered, but I have some great news. I was talking with Jeff beforehand. He's a super friendly guy. I'm sure he would love to answer all of your questions. If you didn't get a chance to answer it after this next presentation, please make sure you go and talk with Jeff. All right, so right now we're going to give a big thank you to our sponsor. We have Michael Brunner with the video. Unfortunately, he's not here right now, but that is his camera, and he's videotaping right now in spirit. We also want to give a big thank you to the Capital Factory and the deck for letting us be here. The Capital Factory is a space that allows entrepreneurs to co-work from. They also provide all sorts of different resources as well. If you'd like to learn more about the Capital Factory, you can go talk with one of the staff over there afterwards. Also, they do have free co-working, which I'll announce some more details about after the next presentation. And finally, our coffee sponsor is the Laughlin Commercial Realty Group, and Michael is going to come up and say some words about it.
Hey guys, my name is Michael Miller with Laughlin Commercial Realty Group. Thank you again for letting us be a sponsor here at 1 Million Cups. We always love hearing everybody and seeing everybody and hearing all the new companies coming out. What we do, we help companies with office space. So from traditional office space with to co-working space, we help them find it, renew their leases, expansion, all the above. So I'd love to talk to you guys if that's of any interest to any of y'all. My card's here and I'll be here after, so if anyone's interested, I'd love to meet you guys. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Michael. We do have an announcement today too. We have Startup Weekend going on from November 9th to November 11th. and that's at the UNT. If you've ever attended the Startup Weekend before, you know how fun it is. Like what you do is you go and you build a company in 3 days. You start from scratch, knowing absolutely nothing. You listen to some teams, they pitch. You join your favorite team, and then you build something over 3 days in the weekend. It's a crazy experience. If you'd like to learn more about that, you can just Google Startup Weekend Dallas, and it's the first result. With that, I want to welcome Anne with International Communication Solutions.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Yep. Great. Okay. Okay. I am with ICS, International Communication Systems. I am the president, and I am an emerging market specialist. I have lived and worked overseas for over 30 years, and I take American companies, state-of-the-art high-tech technology into, right now, Africa. We're working on Africa. Anybody have any thoughts about Africa, about working in Africa?
I hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you're actually asking?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was kind of an intro with no response. Yeah, I mean, it's an emerging market, so for anyone that's interested in really taking the risks, because there's a lot of risk that comes with it, it can be worth your while financially, but you really have to put in probably more time than you would put in being here in the US if you're going to go to that market.
And I come here to alleviate a lot of that for you. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit. My story is about as big as Russia, so I'm going to be really quick and try to tell you what I've done to get here today. In the early 1990s, as perestroika was in Russia, I went over there, looked for opportunities, and ended up opening up the first video conferencing public room for Western companies to talk back to their companies back at home. It was a fabulous experience. Worked with Boston College, which is my alma mater, worked with their Small Business Institute. We put together a 5-year business plan and had it pumping. We had customers like Allied Signal, United Technologies, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson. And then I heard AT&T was trying to get into the market. I'd go into meetings and it would be, my name is Anne Alongi, A-L-O-N-G-I, one person would show up and that was it. But I did my job, we did it. AT&T and I had a conversation, and at the end of the 2 weeks we had put together a deal where I had pretty much sold them my company and took an 18-month contract with them to set them up in the business. It was kicked up a notch. When we went into meetings, everybody was there. It was amazing. I had an opportunity to work with Moscow State University, the medical department. We did the first medical broadcast between doctors invited to Moscow State University from all over Russia, all over the Soviet republics. And we did it with Baylor Medical College down in Texas. Dr. DeBakey was actually on the call with us. It was fabulous. We had a great time. And we also worked with the president of Kazakhstan. At the time, Kazakhstan was the last Soviet republic to actually declare independence. The president wanted to move the capital from the south end of Kazakhstan into the center of Kazakhstan. We set up the video conferencing for them to work back and forth. Fabulous experience. From there, after I left Motorola, I left AT&T, Motorola came knocking at my door, offered me a position in Moscow. It was right after the ruble had crashed, and I spent a year in Moscow with them, restructuring capital equipment loans. It was boring. They offered me a challenge to get out to South Africa, to go after the third operator license. All of their competitors were down there for 18 to 24 months before Motorola even decided to get into the run. I went down there, was able to kick out everyone and except one, and we had one competitor, and I positioned Motorola for $165 million worth of infrastructure business for the third operator license for Cell C, if anybody knows anything about South Africa. From there I moved, after that was up and running, I moved with Motorola up to UK. I started getting calls from people. Can you open up things for me in Africa? Can you open up things for me in Russia or Eastern Europe and things like that? So I started working on my own. I have been doing this now for about 17 years, and I decided to put it together now as a company. So what we do, ICS makes us easy for companies to expand globally, that are ready to expand globally. I've had a lot of companies, a lot of times startup companies will invent a product. I'm working with an inventor right now on a specific product, has no idea how to sell it or who to sell it to. So we're working on that right now. But a lot of people would take their prototype, they get so excited, they worked on it for 4 or 5 years, and they give it to, let's say, I'll give you for instance, France Telecom. France Telecom takes it into their labs, they look at it, and then I get a call about 6 months later and said, Ann, can you get it out of France Telecom? And what happens is they go in with no contracts, they go in with no set goals, no timelines, nothing like that, you know, anything that's they need to do to make this work. Somebody can come in with another product, there's nothing telling them they have to work on that, so they put it on the shelf. So we come in and we take care of all of that. We do work with state-of-the-art. And the reason why I go to Africa is because South Africa is one of the best markets for state-of-the-art technology. They will look at anything. The Vodacom is one of the largest operating companies out of Vodafone. If anybody knows Vodafone in Europe, okay. Now I threw me off. They have been voted #1 network in the world. Today they're #4 because other companies have gone ahead of them, larger companies. But it's a fabulous place to work. I'm going to hurry because I don't have much time. We have a deployment system where it takes your product through a process to deployment very quickly. So the goal here is to generate net new revenue. And that's what we do for you. We have an accelerated approval process. Why Africa? Let's go here. Africa is the second fastest telecom market in the world. Right now, Africa, it represents 8% of the total global market. But in reality, they are just under 20% of the global economic profit pool. Isn't that fabulous? We have a retail growth growing. Thank you, Ann. Go ahead.
All right, that's a wonderful presentation. We will now open up the floor for questions. And our first question to you is always, what can we as a community do for you?
If anybody is looking for entry into EMEA, that's Europe, Middle East, and Africa, have them talk to us. We can open doors for you. Over the 30 years that I've been working overseas, my colleagues, my competitors, my customers, my friends are now running these networks. We stay in touch with them, and they tell me what they're looking for. I find I've been doing this with them for 17 years. So we're looking for small cells. We're looking for plug-and-play small cells that will go crazy. We work with Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 1 operators. I think that, let me see, I've got it over here somewhere. Okay, small cell, broadband infrastructure. In order for the rest of Africa to get into this market, we need broadband infrastructure. We can open the market to you, to all of the broadband companies in Africa. Digital platforms, software, hardware, anything like that we're looking at, and anything that will increase ARPU, the average revenue per user, decrease CapEx and decrease OpEx. That's what we're looking for.
One question to take it to the audience. Thanks. I'm back here. So, so you mentioned that you've been doing this for 17 years, and I just want to bring it to the attention because most time people present they definitely have a strong background, many years, maybe as many as you in their industry, but the business itself, typically people who present at 1 million cups, it's a 5 years in business or less. Can you tell us what your status is with the business that you have launched today, and then where you'd like to see it go in the next 2 years? So are you 1 year in business? Are you 3 months in business? 1 year in business, 2 months, which is?
1 year right now for this business getting off the ground. We've been going after customers, and to be honest with you, for the first time in my life doing this, I got knocked down by 4 companies, and they wouldn't do business with me. So I said, what the? And then someone's gonna, I need to be famous. So I said, I'm gonna put my company together and get out there and let people know just what I can do out here and who I know. I mean, what happens basically is if you have a product and you give it to me, okay, we're going to evaluate it, all right? Then I'm going to go call the operator and I'm going to say, Stephen, I guess it's a really cool product. Take a look at it for me. Now, he runs 7 networks, okay? So he's going to go, yeah, okay. So by the time I call you back, I have a customer for you. Okay, so, I mean, I walked in, the 4 companies that turned me down, I was able to say to them, I can buy 1,000 units off you today if your product does what it says it does on your website. And I was turned away. What I found out later was the product wasn't ready. They were trying to tell us it was ready, and it wasn't ready. And I have people waiting for products. So. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have another question, Shucks. What type of products do you think would be best fit for the telecommunication industry right now?
Small cells, plug and play small cells. You know how Wi-Fi works? Wi-Fi comes in, you have a technician, you put it on the wall, plug it into Ethernet, and you're all done. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a small cell that can open up, and we will sell them like hotcakes. I can guarantee you that. I can't find it though. I can't find it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, and I think you and I talked a few weeks ago, and I certainly shared your technical background. So I'm glad you explained what small cell is, because I don't know if it's clear to everybody what it is. But a segue to the question is, with small cell right now, there's the low power wireless, which is for the IoT, and that's becoming more of a trend. I understand in Africa in particular, the infrastructure is still growing, but in many other parts of the world, the infrastructure is already built, and now providers looking for opportunities to monetize and sweat their equity. And one opportunity is the IoT and the devices that are going to be connected, if not already connected. So are you working, or are you familiar with any opportunities in this space to take to, if not Africa, let's say the Middle East where, especially the Gulf, is very mature in infrastructure. You know, broadband penetration is probably the highest in the world, if, you know, after Japan and other countries of that nature. So have you looked into monetizing, sweating existing infrastructure equity?
Yes. When I come down to, as a matter of fact, my partner's in Kuwait today. So, what happened there? Did I do it? What I want to show you is, when I work in South Africa, okay, a lot of companies will go in and they'll hire regional people to sell their product. So in South Africa, what they don't understand is, let's say we're going to talk Vodacom right now. Vodacom is the biggest network mobile operator in South Africa. What they also have is these other areas. These other areas are the rest of Africa. These are also their accounts. Okay. Once I'm done here, then I go back to my contact in South Africa, who is the CTO of the group, meaning South Africa and rest of Africa, and I say, Andreas, I need you to make a call for me. Get me into Andy, I'm on my way to England. Andy is the head of innovations for Vodafone, and I've worked with Andy. I've had several products go through Andy's process. And when we open up to Andy is in the United Kingdom, we get through to him. And remember, all of our lab tests, all of our trials, everything has been done, and we're deployed already in Africa. So he knows this works. Then we go over here. Operating companies for Vodafone. These are just the operating companies that Vodafone owns. They are their partners. And this opens up all of these countries to you. Okay? Now that's just what they own. These are their partners. Some of these countries are using the Vodafone name, and use the Vodafone system in these countries. So So you have, I think it's over 70 accounts that you go to once we get into the UK. So,
They divested from Qatar, they only kept the name, by the way, so they have no control over the operations.
they're not in Qatar?
They divested, yeah, they only kept the name, so they have no ownership.
Okay, did not know that. Things move. Their store, my products, anything that I sell into there will go into their Vodafone store in Luxembourg. And any company has access to that store that's related to Vodafone. Okay. So also, let's take Cell C. I worked with Cell C when they were just going after their first mobile license. Okay? If you're working with someone local down there, they're going to sell to Cell C. But I know Cell C is owned by a Saudi company. I know the Saudis very well who own this company. And I know that they have 3 other networks. So it's a low-hanging fruit for me to say, I'm going over to the 2 of your Turkish accounts. I'm going to go in and talk to your Pakistani account. So it spreads like that. That's how I work, and I've been working like that. I've always started in, the reason why I started in South Africa is because they're the innovators. They're going to tell the world what they're looking for. Any questions? Thank you,
All right, we have a question in the back.
Hi, Ann. I have a wide open question for you. What's your philosophy on patents in the international market? Is it, yes, of course you need them, get as many as you can, or no, patents just kind of slow you down?
I don't know. The question is irrelevant to me, depending on who I'm working with. The company that one of the people that I'm working with right now, he has 7 or 8 patents, and just doesn't think that's worth anything. I made him put it into his into his what do you call it? His presentation, however you want to call it, his PowerPoint. He didn't even think that was an issue, but we're very aware of that, and I think it holds weight wherever you go. So, but it's really not an issue that I've had to address, to be honest with you. I just know if you have patents, you should be telling people about them. Okay.
All right, we have time for a few more questions. And I have a question, Ann.
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned working with inventors. What specifically is the vetting process that you go through to decide if this is something that you can help them with?
It's a secret. I work with my friends in Africa, and I just call them up and say, look, this is something pretty cool, you need to look at this. And we really go through the products completely before we go back to it. Or if he said to me, when I was looking for small cells, he gave me all of the specs, and I looked for those specs here. I found 4 companies that had those specs. So by the time I got to them, we had gone through, I'll give you a quick story, real quick story. A company out of San Diego hired me. They had sent someone down to South Africa to sell their product. When I got down there, they couldn't sell a thing. When I got down there were t-shirts with this company's logo on, they had skateboards, they had pens, they must have spent, I don't know how much money. I went into them, signed a contract with them on Monday. Friday night I flew down. But I had been talking to them for months, okay? I've been talking to them. They didn't like me because they didn't think I could do anything because I wasn't an engineer. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And signed a contract with them on Monday, the 3rd of February, flew down to South Africa on Friday night, had dinner on Saturday night, called them on Sunday and said, you've got a trial, let's get going. They did not believe me. They did not believe me. And I said, these people have been waiting for me to get on board. You've been dragging your feet. I said, we did, first thing was a $500,000 offer with it. I got them a frame agreement, and if anybody's worried about getting money out of Africa, you're dealing with billion-dollar companies. We do a frame agreement, so you have a good 12 months of knowing what kind of production you're going to have. And we also do, on the first time, until you get comfortable, bank guarantees. So the World Bank. So, did that answer your question?
Yes, definitely. Okay. Do we have time for one more question? All All right, and I have another question for you. Okay. You mentioned the many years that you have in the industry. What specific is your specialty or the industry that you like to work with the most?
I like to work with mobile network infrastructure. I really enjoy that. I know what it is. I know how it develops. But we're looking outside now. And I think that's why. I'll tell you, this is the reason why. Give me 1 minute. Okay? The middle class in Africa is expected to grow from about 355 million to about 1.1 billion and over the next 20, 30 years. Okay? The middle class consumers on the continent will be spending on healthcare, telecoms, education, housing, entertainment, beyond the bare necessities of food and shelter. It'll become one of the biggest catalysts for growth on the continent, the middle class. Okay? They will demand international brands and Western goods. So that's all happening in Africa. Okay? Over $1 billion US have been invested in foreign direct investments, in over 20 foreign direct investments over the past decade. So people are starting to take notice. When you work with me, you do not have to go into the jungles, you're not going into crazy places. We work with South Africa. South Africa handles rest of Africa. Okay? My partner works in the Middle East, and he's handling the Middle East, North Africa for us right now. He's, like I said, he's in Kuwait this week. He'll be in China next week. So that's it. I mean, it's a growing market. It's not a scary market. Lovely people, wonderful, warm people. I can't tell you how much I love being there. So.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Hi, so I'm Isabel. Hope everybody enjoyed that. I'm actually the lead organizer for this chapter in Dallas. I wanted to make a few announcements. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar that there are a few other chapters. So if you've never been to a 1 Million Cups before, we do have it run by different organizing teams in Frisco, in Irving, Fort Worth, and in North Dallas. They actually call it Addison. So you can. There's not one in Arlington, no, but if you want to start one in Arlington, I know they were last summer looking for an organizing team, but I would like to mention that there is opportunity if you'd like to get involved as a volunteer for the other chapters. Really, Irving is interested in getting some support, so if you have interest, do connect with me and I will connect you with the right people. They only meet in Irving once a month at the study. And I also wanted to let you guys know that in Frisco, they are actually taking a break right now. So just kind of stay tuned on their website to make sure that it's actually going on before you make the journey. They're on a pause because Launchpad City is having a relocation, and there should be an announcement coming up soon. And also for us, we will take a break at the end of December, so just giving you a heads up, we'll be off for 2 weeks. But we love having you guys to stay in touch. So if you're not getting the newsletters, please make sure that you register on our website because that's our only way of communicating with you. So if you haven't signed in today to the app, please do that. That'll get you registered into our newsletter automatically. And also wanted to mention that Shane did mention that there's a startup weekend. I want to be more specific because you hear a lot about startup week, startup weekends, and it happens multiple times a year for the startup weekends, and there's different events that happen around DFW. This specific event is actually a startup weekend in Fort Worth. It's at UNT Health Sciences. So if you're interested in that, what you need to do is go to, they have an Eventbrite, and the information is there. So it is not in Dallas. Everything else that she mentioned is correct. This is exactly what it says. Can you really start a business in 54 hours? You can start at Startup Weekend. Techstars Startup Weekend is the place for startup enthusiasts, innovators, designers, developers, marketers, and creatives to come together in 1 weekend and pitch. Where is it happening? 3500 Camp Bowie, UNT Health Sciences Fort Worth, Friday, November 9th at 6 p.m. So you will find it on Eventbrite. Now, as far as co-working, for free, it's only Wednesdays here because Capital Factory has offered that to the 1 Million Cups Nation. So when you are here after the event, you sign in with them at the front desk. There's a front management officer. Her name is Jessica. You can sign in with her, and what she'll do is get you a little sticker with your name on it, because everyone that rents space here is legitimately here. They paid to have an office. So for us, they want to know who we are, so we do need to respect that as also as a security issue. To get your name down, get the badge, and then you can be free to chill out in this lower level here, but upstairs is private and the offices are private as well. Unless you want to rent them, you can arrange that with them. If you would like to do a tour, you can also ask at the front desk that you'd like to do a tour of the space. Okay, am I missing anything? Any questions about 1 Million Cups? No? I'm stalling a little bit because I feel like there's something else I'm supposed to tell you, but it's not on the top of my head right now. So, without further ado, just you can hang out, continue to be here. There's no event happening right after, so you don't have to feel rushed to leave. You're welcome to stay and have a good time. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.